let's talk about some healthcare names before we close out here. And I want to just open up this other screen. So first on VKTX and some deals. So today, another deal was announced yesterday. Soleno, SLNO, a stock that we've mentioned before that I owned, but then I sold out of it. And so I didn't participate in this buyout that was announced yesterday, Neurocrine Bioscience buying them out. But that's fine because it was below the sale price when I sold the stock anyway. So I'm okay with that. Just in the past month, there have been $41 billion worth of M&A deals announced in healthcare. And you're going to ask, how does this relate to VKTX? Stay with me, and I promise I'll get to you. So 34 billion of major acquisitions. Merck, Lilly, Biogen, Neurocrine, Gilead, Novartis, all have bought companies. Then you have strategic partnerships, another $6 billion just in the last month. Lilly, Merck, Sanofi, Shionogi. Then you get IPOs, another $1 billion. Now that's just in the last month. Now in the first quarter of 2026, $60 billion worth of deals were announced for Chinese companies alone. Now that's some biotech dollars where it's not cash up front, but just keep this in mind. Now, on top of that, in obesity, these are the deals that have been announced year to date. Novo announced a deal with an alliance for $2 billion. AstraZeneca did an alliance for 1.2. Pfizer did one for 500 million. Lilly did one for 55 million up front. Then there were 4 different obesity IPOs so far this year. $1 billion, one raised $1 billion, one raised 300 million. Okay, so I could go through even more detail, but what I'm getting at is 6 months ago, I sent to subscribers a thing that said, hey, listen, if you do forensic linguistics, you can see that VKTX, their language has changed over time of whether or not they were going to get a deal. They had been talking about, and a lot of people speculated that they might be acquired or that they would sign a licensing deal. But I noticed that their language just sounded different. So I ran a screen and ran several screens, and it took over a day just to go through this. And it came out clearly that their language had changed from fairly confident that there was going to be a deal to, hey, we're going to go this alone. I mentioned all these other deals because if you're the business development person, Lilly came out and said, we see 15 deals a day or something crazy. They're doing all these deals. Do you think that Viking Therapeutics didn't come across their table? Like they weren't like, oh yeah, let's take a look at this, the other big player in obesity. So the stock hasn't cratered. I'm not entirely sure why, but just keep that in mind. I still believe that there's no deal at hand for them and that they're going to end up trying to finance themselves out of this, or maybe a partnership. But if you're Lilly and you're working on the 3rd generation drug and you have an oral drug, how the bar is set so high for Viking that I just don't see it. So and pricing has dropped so much. So are you really going to invest this much in manufacturing to maybe have an also ran? Again, I 100% don't see it. I'm still short a little. I don't believe that individual investors should short. I don't think it's such a great business model, but I do it for fun here and there. For institutions, if you own this, I would take seriously what I've just outlined and think about it. I'd love to hear the pushback. What does the chart say, Kevin?
It's it's done some damage closing below the 200 day. I don't see there aren't any volume clues that I'm really reading anything into. But I just think that with every passing day that no one asked them to dance, that what are they going to say on their earnings call, and what do they have for data releases that are going to move this up? And it looks to me like this 40 to 42 level is a pretty formidable lid, and I'm not hearing from you or anybody news that will change that sentiment around. So I'm we've been and it also is in the financial press. It's also, this used to be, oh, well, this is a very likely takeover target, and that's faded with every ensuing deal, which is why I asked you that in the member chat. So there's so many things to do. Why be involved here on the long side?
Yeah, because all you're really betting on is that there's somebody out there who's going to buy them. And you're right. You have, I don't know, Google down 10%. Is that a better outcome? I would do that before I'd risk it on, oh, hopefully they'll make it. Meanwhile, every day they're burning cash. So um,
Yeah,
that's just my view there.
I think waiting for fat pitches makes all the sense in the world. I mean, sometimes the inactivity is the best thing you can possibly do. Just kind of where we are right now, I think.
Hey, Robert, do you like that he
Yes,
worked in a fat pitch with an obesity play?
absolutely. I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
clever,
I'm very
clever.
clever. I'm a wordsmith.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought I made
So
it obvious.
so on Merck, I had said something the other day of like, hey, listen, I still own it, but here's I put into our chat a report that I wrote on everyone's saying that they did 5 deals and that should make up for Keytruda, and I just do the math that it doesn't work that way. The odds of getting 5 things right to fill a hole is actually very much much more difficult than it sounds. The odds are, I think it came out to like 16% or something that actually works, because you have to get each one of them right. Now, there are arguments against that of like, well, maybe you get 4 of them right and 2 of them turn out to be way bigger. Okay, I guess you could make up whatever scenario. Maybe they only get 1 and it turns out to be a blockbuster. You can come up with anything about unicorns and flying pigs that you want. That's not how the math works, but that's fine. I think they're doing what they should, which is, hey, we should try to come up with some good deals here, and more or less they look okay. But it is an added risk. What does the chart say that's going on with Merck?
And it's uncanny how often this happens. I mean, this is how stocks work. They run into resistance and then they have a hard time making upward progress. This is 125 to 135 or so that we hit in early 24, and it's very logically stalling out here. It's having a hard time making much progress after this breakout back in December of 23.